See?
Oh, he's the Dutch Hope. He's the vanquisher of Protoss. He's the roach user. He's the burrow master. He's the pink Zerg aGaham, spawning in the top position.
Yep, and his opponent showing excellent form today, dropping against Lambo, but already winning a series against aGaham earlier. Can he repeat that? Can he make another 2-1 against the Dutchman? It is 14 Fnatic, the Protoss player Ignite. Yeah, it's a little bit of a grudge match as well, Patrick. When you lose your first games in a 2-1 and they're pretty close, and you are 1-1, you want to win that one, right? aGaham
Yep.
it has to be anxious for this. He's come all this way. He's defeated Strinterin in the process, and he has to be feeling good in this game. And if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen now.
Exactly, it is. Now, regarding this map, aGaham might have it a little bit more difficult than compared with other maps, because this map is very, very, very good for two things the Protoss can do. One is sentry-based attacks, and two is just three base heavy, big Protoss army rolling at you, and you're unable to stop it. And that's because this base is, excuse me, this map is very, very good defensively for Protosses. If you take a look at the third base, you can easily wall that off on the western side between the assimilator. There's a very small choke there, and once you break down the rocks, basically you can keep your army here between the two bases, and you secure your main, natural, and third this easily. And taking a fourth is not really difficult on this map for Protoss, but compare that to the Zerg player. He has all these chokes to contend with just to keep his third base alive, right? And there are multiple access paths into his third and natural as well. Then we have the Warpism harasses from the east, where you can abuse the terrain there, the dead space. I mean, it's really, really difficult. On the flip side, in the late game, if you manage to go that far, you can go Broodlords because you can abuse the terrain. If you take a look at the fractured paths in the center and the alternation of the lower and high grounds, you can abuse the terrain very well, but the same is true of Protosses once they get Tempests. You can try to go Swarm Hosts as well, but either way, I feel like getting to late game with Zerg is so difficult on this map just because you can't touch the Protoss.
I think in most games where I've seen a longer game on Heavy Rain, it has been Swarm Hosts for the Zerg players. A lot of time with roaches instead of with the other variants of the Swarm Host, just to be a little bit more mobile. I've seen a lot of that, and I've also seen some pushes with the roaches and hydras with the vipers, like you mentioned you would like to see. I've seen that work on Heavy Rain actually.
That's
so
true.
we could see something like that, but if you go into the late game, it becomes a little bit more difficult. Like you said, with throwing away Zealots and War Prisms and stuff like that, it just becomes tedious to play on this map because there's so many points between the fourth base and the bases you already have that it becomes very hard for the Zerg player.
That is true. Now, interestingly, aGaham is getting a link speed, and he continues to mine the gas, still mining with 3 drones, despite the fact that his opponent opened with a forge. Now, this is banking on the fact that he's going to have a really good, strong army by the time Ignite comes to attack, because his third is going to be so delayed that if he can't defend the push, whatever push Ignite might be doing, then aGaham will lose his tech advantage and he'll be behind. And, that's a fast layer. He's adding on an additional gas. It almost looks to me as if he's rushing for Mutalisks.
Yeah, it could be actually, because this layer is awkwardly fast, timed by aGaham, but I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit awkward because he hasn't scouted that much of his opponent. He just sees that he has a sentry and he's flying away with his Overlord. I don't think he even saw the Mothership Core coming out. He hasn't scouted how much gases his opponent has. So why would you go mute us just blindly?
Well, if it's versus a Forge expansion, it could work. As long as you don't take a third base, because, the tech for the Protoss will be slower. Way slower, in fact.
But if the Protoss gets wind of this, you could just go Phoenix, and that basically shuts down the game.
Yeah, it does. We'll have to scout it. There's the Spire. And it's tucked away behind the extractor in the natural.
In the natural. Oh.
But it's going to be quite a while before the Protoss. I mean, you know,
Unless the Mothership Core scouts it.
it could be the Mothership Core, which is unlikely due to the queens. Look at this. aGaham is positioning his queen in order to intercept the
he saw
scout.
it.
The first scout that could actually come in is probably going to be a hallucination, but yeah, there we go. I'm so good at this.
Oh, giving yourself compliments.
I was looking at the sentry when he made the Phoenix. I mean, come on.
Oh, I'll give you credit for that.
And no, I have not seen this replay. I never watched the replays.
That's your trick. That's why you've been so sharp all evening. That's why you're so tired.
Give me a break.
Oh no.
Give me a break. Okay.
Right.
Is he going to see it? Yeah, he sees the spire. Yep. He clicks on the spire even, so he knows. But the spire is almost done, and there are no stargates anywhere. Only just now coming up. So, you know, right now, what I feel, since aGaham is only on 2 bases, once he gets those mutas, he has to make sure he depowers those stargates immediately and leaves them depowered.
Yep, that could be a very smart move with this Artosis pylon placed there. He actually knows it because he places a photon cannon next to a second pylon there. Because that leaves him a little bit vulnerable if he does snipe that. There's 7 mutas on the way, and these stargates are going to produce 2 phoenixes before those 7 mutas fly into his base, because phoenixes just fly out instantly.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a little bit awkward. I feel like Ignite is in a good spot though. If aGaham doesn't go immediately, then Ignite is in a very good spot. He does go immediately, that's good, because phoenixes are so good. Yeah.
At the same time, you know, the build that Ignite's been using this whole day is pretty much +1 into Blink +2. No matter if he opened Gateway or Forge, and no matter what tech he opened with, he constantly transitions into these upgrades, and you know that makes him very, very, very safe versus Mutaplay. At the same time, it's going to be quite some time before Ignite is going to be able to take a 3rd base. And look at aGaham, he's adding on Corruptors, so he's going full out air. If he micros that correctly, it becomes very frustrating and very difficult for the Protoss player to either take a 3rd base or keep his Phoenixes alive.
Yep, and I mean, it's gonna be down to aGaham to make something happen with those units, though, because he's played from 2 bases for a very long time. You don't usually take your 3rd base around the 11-minute mark.
Yeah.
You do that way earlier as a Zerg player. So if he does no damage with this, though, he did sacrifice a lot to get there.
Yeah, well, he's banking on the fact that he's going to prevent the 3rd base from going down. Thing is that Ignite is not even going to take a 3rd base. He's just like, I know what you're trying to do, I'm going to attack you now. Look at this. Hydralisk then almost finishing, Roach Warren almost finishing, +1 is on the way. I mean, aGaham, he will lose the 3rd base, but he will have the ground forces to fall back on. He just needs to stay alive.
He's actually gonna lose 1, almost 2 of these Corruptors just to the Phoenixes. The Phoenixes are not bad against Corruptors, by the way.
They're not.
Decently.
Even in spite of the fact that we don't have any on Pulse Crystals in the way yet. And look at this! Ignite is just going to abuse this choke right now. He's going to prevent any ground forces from reaching the army. Hydralisks are the unit of choice for aGaham. He still needs more time. He cannot.
Now, he needs them now. He needs them straight away. There's 13 Hydras on the way. Some of them are already moving there, but they're not going to be in time to save this 3rd base. No way. He has to rebuild the 3rd base at the bottom side and try to defend it. But do you think he can hold this actually?
I think he can. I mean, with the Hydralisks, if he engages with all of his forces, I think he can hold this.
I don't know about this, Patrick. It looks a little bit scary. Some good focus fire on the Phoenixes though do prevent a lot of damage from that. The Corruptors are still alive, but he loses all of the Hydras, and all that's left is the Corruptors. Sure, they can kill the Phoenixes, but it's the Stalkers that he needs to kill, and there's still reinforcements being warped in, Patrick.
Yeah, they are. There's a proxy pylon over here. There are new warpings happening there every second as the time goes by. And aGaham, well, his army has dwindled down to 28 supply only versus 40, which means Ignite is doubling him in that respect right now, and it looks like that all-in is going to be pretty strong. But mind you, it was a responsive all-in. It wasn't something that Ignite wanted to do all along, I don't think. It was just, yeah, these spine crawlers, it's just looking ugly for aGaham, and aGaham GG's out of the game. I am sad.